Hello everyone, and welcome to Behind the Bulletin, where every shocking truth is uncovered and every hidden story comes to light. Today, we dive into a revelation that has shaken the entire entertainment world. Park Eun-bin's sudden emergency marriage to Rowoon stunned fans, but what truly terrified everyone was the chilling threat behind her decision. A danger so real and so disturbing that she had no choice but to act immediately. What happened? Who, or what, forced her into this unexpected union? Stay with us, because the truth unfolds right now. No one expected Park Eun-bin to marry, let alone in a sudden, late-night emergency ceremony surrounded by only a handful of witnesses. The news detonated across the nation like an explosion, leaving fans stunned, critics speechless, and the entire entertainment industry scrambling for answers. But the truth behind her shocking decision was darker than any rumor could capture. It began weeks earlier. Hidden beneath a quiet fear she kept buried behind calm smiles and flawless professionalism. Eun-bin had been filming late into the night when she first noticed something wrong. A series of anonymous letters were delivered to her drama set, more disturbing than the last. At first, she dismissed them as obsessive fan mail, strange but not uncommon. But the tone shifted quickly. The messages became sharper, more personal, revealing details about her schedule that no outsider should know. Then came the chilling one that jolted her awake. "You think you're safe, but I am closer than you believe," she reported it quietly. Her team increased her security, but the threats kept coming. One night, while walking to her car, she noticed a figure standing near the exit, motionless, watching her with unsettling familiarity. Her body froze in terror. Security intervened, but by the time they reached the spot, the figure had vanished. The incident haunted her for days. She began sleeping with the lights on. Her manager urged her to take a break, but she insisted on continuing her schedule, afraid that stepping away would only escalate the situation. Everything spiraled out of control when, during a live fan signing event, a small black envelope appeared among the gifts. Inside was a note written in the same harsh handwriting: "You belong with someone else. If you don't act soon, I will." Attached was a photo, grainy, taken from a distance, but unmistakable. It was her, alone in her apartment, looking out the window. The angle made it clear, the stalker had been close, terrifyingly close. Her hands trembled. She couldn't breathe. For the first time in her career, she canceled the rest of the event. That night, Rowoon entered the picture. He had been a close friend for years. Someone she trusted deeply. Someone who understood her in ways few others did. When he arrived at her apartment and saw her fear, he didn't ask questions, he simply held her as she cried. Then she showed him the letters. His face hardened immediately. Anger flickered behind his usually gentle eyes. The first time, Eun-bin felt a sense of safety stronger than panic. But the threats escalated again. A week later, her agency received a message that changed everything: "She will not be alone much longer. I am taking her. You can't stop me." That same evening, the lock on her apartment door was found scratched, as if someone had attempted to force it open. The agency panicked. Security tripled. Police were alerted. But the stalker was always one step ahead. Eun-bin couldn't sleep. She couldn't eat. He spoke to Rowoon every night, his voice the only thing that calmed her shaking nerves. He stayed outside her apartment until dawn, refusing to leave unless he knew she was safe. Their connection grew stronger, not from romance, but from survival. Then came the incident that forced the world to its knees. Late one night, a masked intruder broke into the stairwell of her building. The CCTV captured him standing directly outside her door, breathing heavily, whispering her name. Minutes before he attempted to enter, Rowoon arrived unexpectedly, pounding on her door and calling her name. Sound startled the intruder, who fled down the stairs. Security chased him, but he disappeared into the night like a ghost. Eun-bin collapsed into Rowoon's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. He held her so tightly she could feel his heartbeat racing against her cheek. And then he said the sentence that would change everything: "You can't live like this anymore. I won't let you. We need to do something drastic." Agency, shaken and desperate to protect her. A drastic suggestion, one that initially left her speechless: an emergency marriage registration. Public, legal, immediate. Symbolic and legal shield against the stalker, who believed she belonged to someone else. If she was publicly married to someone powerful, well-known, and constantly in the spotlight. It could deter the threat or at least expose the stalker's motives. It sounded absurd, unreal, terrifying. But then Rowoon stepped forward, calm, unwavering, protective in a way she had never seen before, and said quietly, "If marrying you keeps you safe for a day, I'll do it. Right now." Bin stared at him in disbelief, tears pooling in her eyes. And for the first time in weeks, didn't feel afraid. That very night, they left through a back entrance. Escorted by security, they entered a small, unmarked building, quiet, dim, nearly empty, and under emergency authorization. With trembling hands and pounding hearts, signed their marriage documents. It was not a romantic moment. It was a moment of survival. But the world would never see it that way. By morning, word leaked. No one knew how, but within hours, anonymous source claimed Park Eun-bin and Rowoon had married overnight. The industry erupted instantly. Fans were stunned. Reporters were relentless. And rumors spiraled out of control. Some believed it was a publicity stunt. Thought they were secretly dating for years. But the truth was darker than anyone could imagine. When Eun-bin woke up in the safe house arranged by her agency, her phone buzzed non-stop, hundreds of missed calls, thousands of messages, articles spreading like wildfire. Eun stood by the window, exhaustion etched into his face. He wasn't used to being the center of a scandal either. But his only concern was her. When she turned to him, confused and overwhelmed, simply nodded. "It's out. We can't hide it anymore." Agency rushed in, advising damage control strategies, scripted statements, and ways to spin the story for the public. But Eun-bin refused. She was done hiding. She was done being afraid. When she stepped out to the press conference arranged hours later, cameras flashed like lightning. Phones swarmed forward. Reporters shouted questions so aggressively that security struggled to contain them. Eun-bin held her breath, gripping the podium with trembling fingers. Then Rowoon appeared beside her, placing a steadying hand on her back. The room fell silent. Eun-bin inhaled deeply and revealed the truth, not all the details, not the most terrifying parts, but enough to silence the malicious rumors. She admitted the emergency circumstances, the threat against her safety, the support Rowoon provided, and why they were forced to act so quickly. Voice cracked at times, but she never lost her resolve. What shocked everyone wasn't just the revelation itself, but the moment Rowoon stepped closer, took her hand openly, and declared, "I don't regret marrying her. I will protect her." The crowd gasped. Some reporters froze. Fans watching live streams burst into tears. The darkest moment came when police revealed that they had received a new message from the stalker after the marriage announcement. "You think a ring will stop me? She was supposed to be mine." Eun-bin felt her blood run cold. But Rowoon's grip tightened. Investigators launched a massive operation, analyzing CCTV, tracking the intruder's movements, hearing her online threats. For the first time, the stalker had made a mistake, one that left a digital trace. And that trace led police to an apartment only 3 blocks from where Eun-bin lived. Inside, they found walls lined with photos of her, some recent, some from years ago, along with printed articles, copies of her schedule, and handwritten notes detailing her movements. The evidence was chilling. But the final blow was a notebook describing his plan to take her on the night she almost lost control of her fear. The arrest happened swiftly. Eun-bin heard the news. She collapsed, not from fear, but from overwhelming relief. Rowoon caught her in his arms before she hit the floor. Days later, the nation's perspective shifted. What began as a shocking scandal became a story of survival, courage, and unexpected loyalty. Fans rallied behind her. Colleagues sent messages of support. And for the first time, allowed herself to breathe freely. As the chaos slowly settled, she and Rowoon sat together on the rooftop of their safe house, looking at the city lights below. "Everything changed so fast," she whispered. Rowoon smiled softly. "Then let's face whatever comes next together." Looked at their hands intertwined, shaky, imperfect, but stronger than fear. The world thought their marriage was a scandal. But to Eun-bin, it was the moment she finally took her life back. As the final echoes of the storm faded, Park Eun-bin finally stood at a place she hadn't known for weeks, somewhere quiet, somewhere safe, somewhere far from the shadows that had chased her. Truth had come to light. The threat had been captured. And the marriage that once felt like an act of desperation had become a symbol of strength, resilience, and an unbreakable bond forged under unbearable pressure. She didn't choose this path out of romance. Chose it to survive. And in doing so, she discovered someone willing to stand beside her when the world turned dark. Rowoon remained by her side through every tremor of fear and every breath of relief, reminding her that even in the deepest chaos, there could still be light. Their story, once whispered in fear, had now unfolded before millions, revealing not scandal, but courage, loyalty, and the power of human connection in the face of danger. To everyone who followed this journey, who held their breath through every twist, who felt every shock and revelation as if living it themselves, thank you. Thank you for your empathy, for your support. Strength of your voices. Thank you for choosing compassion over judgment, understanding over chaos. This story may reach its final chapter here. The message it leaves behind is clear: even in the darkest moments, hope can still rise, quiet, steady, and unbreakable. Thank you for staying with us until the very end. We'll see you again in the next story.